Welcome to Mr. UFC Vegas Fight Club TV. I am Kyle, your host. Welcome to the podcast. And today we're going to be doing our predictions for UFC 223. We're going to go over our best bet play and also two other plays that we will be having on this card. And before we get into that, do not forget to subscribe, like, head kick the bell icon, get involved with Fight Club TV. We're a growing channel. You're going to like it if you like combat sports. So, let's get into UFC 223. Now, before we dive into the plays, I want to just say again, it's a terrible situation what happened with Tony Ferguson, and the fact that apparently some kind of microphone cord ended up taking down the interim champion. A little bit of annoyance to it, and also I wanted to say I really believe there was maybe something else going on there. I just, you see the guy kicking poles and elbowing, steel pipes and, that kind of stuff. He's doing all of these, just a very, very odd situation. Really hope that he gets back to health and back in the ring, and I really would like to see the Khabib versus Ferguson fight down the road. Now, with that said, one of my plays was going to be Khabib, 2 units. Roughly, he was about a minus 200, minus 220, at least where I was placing my money. That's obviously not happening, but that's really where one of the plays was going to be. So that's not happening. Now, going into the main event right away, we'll dive into. Now, obviously, Khabib has an enormous advantage in this, and we're not going to even dive into it fully just because this is not one of the plays that I'm going to be having, and I'm not going to tell you to bet Khabib here, but, I may have it in a parlay. I may actually throw Khabib in a parlay, but the fact that, Max is a beast, he's coming in at such late notice, and the fact that you just never know on the other side, one spinning elbow and he becomes champion, Khabib does. Max does. So you just never know in these kind of things. It's still going to be a terrific fight. I'm really excited to see what kind of strategy that Max implements, because I really believe that he is going to be different. I think he knows he needs to be different, and I think he's going to attack this a little bit differently than some other people do. I really believe that that's going to be his edge and a possibility to try to win this fight. Now, with that said, I do believe Khabib will win, but that's just my 2 cents on the main event, because obviously there's not too much to say about that in my opinion, just because I think a lot of us feel the same way that Khabib will get that victory. And the odds on the other side of that too, are just very high. You got, minus 500, minus 400, wherever it is there. Very high, juice on Khabib if you want him. So now let's dive into the 3 plays that we're going to discuss today. And the first one is going to be Felice Herring versus Karolina Kowalkiewicz. And this fight, I went back last night. I looked at both of their last 3 fights, and I was very back and forth on this from the beginning. I'll take that back. Actually, in the very beginning, I was going one way. I felt strongly about it. Then I rewatched, started to get a little confused on which way I wanted to go, but I'm sticking with my gut on what I thought from the very beginning when this fight was announced. Now, going back, I'm not going to dive into it too quickly. This is a half a unit play for me, so I'm not going to go too crazy on the breakdowns and all that kind of stuff. But when I watched Karolina's last 3 fights, now her last 3 fights, she just beat, had a decision victory, but the 2 fights prior to that was against Gedalia and against Johanna. And those 2 fights I thought were very telling for the kind of fighter she is. Now, Johanna is obviously, her kickboxing and stand-up and striking game is elite, very, very elite. And she's going to stand and bang with you. She's going to stand and she's going to trade. That is where the wheelhouse of Karolina is. At least in my opinion, that's just where it is. It's the wheelhouse is they're going to strike, they're going to stand, they're going to strike. So I see that was actually a fairly competitive fight, but, Johanna, through that fight was able to just outpoint her and just move forward and get that victory. Then you had against Gedalia. Now, against Gedalia, this was more of what I look at as a kind of fighter that Felice Herring is Claudia Gedalia. And I would not put them in the same bracket as in fighters. I believe Gedalia is better, and she's very much a beast and very more technically better than Herring is. But looking at the way that this could be the path to victory for Herring, And when I looked at it, the smothering and the way that Gedalia went about her business was very interesting to me. And I thought that she didn't give as much space as possibly that Carolina likes. And I think that she was a little taken back by that. She was, Gedalia's strength is off the charts for that division. But Herring is also, she's pretty damn strong. She is pretty damn strong. And if she can get that body, the body lock around you, she can manipulate body movement up against the cage or looking to take her down. Now, that's where Gedalia's wheelhouse is. And, she's just known to just be able to ragdoll girls to the ground. But I really believe that Felice Herring, she's 14-6, right now. And, but she's 5-1 within the UFC. And she is really starting to, although she hasn't faced the top level that someone like Carolina faces, and that does turn me off a little bit. That was where, when I was rewatching things, I said, man, she has really faced, Carolina has really faced top level fighters, and Herring is starting to get to that point. But it seems like she's starting to get a little more well-rounded, and I like what she did in her last fight. She was able to, take her opponent down, and she was able to start to do those kind of things that I believe she should be doing more of. A lot of times, Felice will just stand in, and she'll stand and trade. And that's just not the way that I believe that she should be fighting. She should be more of the Gedalia kind of fighting, where she gets in close, she makes it dirty boxing, get you to the ground, and just control the action and get the decision victory, or at least control the action enough to win rounds and not stand and trade. And that is where I believe the path to victory is for Herring. I believe that she's gonna be able to get close. Although the clinch game on Carolina is very good, I believe that the strength will be the difference maker when they're very close. And if she does not give space, that is going to be the key in this fight. If Carolina is able to continually circle around the cage and find the space, that is where she can pick her apart. And standing outside, Carolina will be able to do that. But I believe within a fight that is going to be close. I really believe it's going to be close. And right now the odds are Carolina is -190 and Felice Herring is +175. Now at +175, I really feel like that's great value for her. I really think that she's going to be able to find some spots to impose her and get her to the ground. I feel like she'll really be able to do that. And I'm doing a half a unit on Felice Herring at +175. I think when you're looking at a fight, at least for me again, when you're looking at a fight, and I really believe it's going to be a third round decision where it's going to be a 1-1. I think it's going to be two very close rounds. It's going to go one for each, and it's going to be into that third round where I really feel like Herring is going to say, listen, I got to bull rush her, take her to the ground, and just win this round and win the decision. And I just think if she keeps doing that, she's going to get the victory. So again, it's Felice Herring, half a unit at +175. Now, the next one is, we'll just pull it up here. Now is the co-main event of the evening. Now, this is going to be an interesting one to discuss. So, obviously, we know the situation here with these two. I was at UFC 217. What an unbelievable card. I've said it in some other videos. It's just every time I talk about this fight, I just remember being at that, Madison Square Garden with my wife, and just being, it was an insane atmosphere. Hold on, let me hydrate before I get into this. You know what? While we're here, let's just. This is the kind of conversation we're gonna be having. So, now that fight was so monumental in the face of where Joanna was going. She was dominating, cleaning out the division. There was a lot of conversation about her with, moving to another division and super fights and all these other things that she was really talking about, and the boogie woman thing. All these things come out, and a lot of conversation was going around about that. And I really feel like, she, I've discussed this over, that she was possibly overlooking Rose. But with that being said, Rose really continues to evolve, get better. She's more well-rounded. Her striking is continuing to elevate. Obviously, she's solid on the ground. She's got great kicks. So and she's young, and she's just going to get better. So with that said, going into that fight, I really remember having conversations with people who were sitting around me. My wife is very much into the UFC as well. Talking with people were giving zero chance for Rose. Zero. None. Not at all. And obviously the odds makers were feeling the same way, that this wasn't going to be anywhere close. I mean, honestly, the odds were pretty much where Khabib and Max Holloway are right now. Pretty much around the -400 and +350 range. That's pretty much where the odds were. To put that into perspective of how far away that anybody thought any of this was going to be happening, that there would be a chance of Rose winning. And that fight for me, when I was there, I did not bet it, because basically kind of the same situation where I looked at the Khabib and Max Holloway, is that they're just so far. It's just the odds are really pushing me away. I didn't see much value in it. Again, I like to do sometimes where the odds are like that high. I like to throw a parlay, throw that one of them in a parlay and help me out with the odds on some other ones that I feel are strong. But I just stayed away from it. And nobody gave Rose a chance. And she goes out there and she knocks out Johanna, and that was it. Now people are very much on the train of Rose, and we talked about it in prior videos and even other ones, that when Rose was the underdog, and I said these odds are gonna push down because the money is going to come in on Rose. And Johanna is she's a world-class striker. She's a champion that she's won, how many in a row, and she's beaten the best of the best in that division. Now, with that said, certain things, again, are the part where I start to lean towards the ex-champion. And the way that I look at it is, a huge thing that keeps going around is the weight cut issue. And that has been something that you can't definitely put too much into that, because anybody can say that my weight cut, was tough and that kind of thing, and it could be, definitely a way out. But if that was a situation, and there are reports that I read, again, real, fake, who knows, but I was reading reports of people who were saying that it was a tough cut for her, that, it was, reported that all these certain things were going on backstage, that she was, having to deal with getting rid of a ton of weight in a very short time, and she was drained, didn't have energy. Even DC, the champion, lightweight champion, Cormier, he even said the same thing, light heavyweight champion, I'm sorry. He even said the same thing too. He said she had a horrible weight cut and she was not feeling good. So I think if you put together the fact that she didn't feel good, she was drained and was weak, possibly even overlooking Rose into the other fights and maybe a big money fight that was coming up for her, because I really believe that was going to be something that was going to be happening for her. If she won that fight, she was 15-0, and she basically cleared out the division, where does she go? Probably another division. Here, she has to get this win. And I see a trilogy fight. I really see a trilogy fight. I believe that's what's coming, is a trilogy fight. And this is the way for her to come back, and she has said that this fight is bigger than the last 15 fights of her career. This is her whole career is riding on this, is the way she puts it, because she knows she loses this fight, she does not fight Rose anytime soon. And she better hope Rose loses to get back into the title picture, because it's going to take her quite a long time to get back to fighting Rose if Rose continues to do well. So with that said, I'm putting 1 unit on the ex-champion Jędrzejczyk at -110 Now, we have Rose right now currently at plus 103. So, it's fairly a pick'em at this point, and that's kind of, again, what we talked about, that and I actually believe in the next couple days, Rose will end up being the favorite come fight night, because it's just the hype train on Rose is there. And, remember, I mean, the way I look at it also, would people feel this way if, Jędrzejczyk was able to, point her out, get a decision victory? How would people feel about Rose? Would they say, well, now she's 7 what would she be at the time? I think she'd be 7-4. Again, young. I think she's 25 or 26 years old, so she's very young. But people would think very differently of her, and it's just very much the storyline has changed with Joanna and Rose and that whole situation between them, because again, it wasn't long ago when everybody thought there wasn't a shot that Rose. So I really feel like it's good money and it's good value on an ex-champion who's been there, done that, and I'm putting 1 unit at minus 110 on Joanna Jędrzejczyk, and that's going to be the second play. So now we're going to get into the best bet pick of the card. And again, the best bet pick is 15-6 for the year. 15 wins, 6 losses, and we are plus 12.35 units for the year. Not doing too bad. And again, shout out to all the Reddit people. If you want to follow all of my picks also, I have my my write-up on Reddit as well. So, the best bet play is Paul Felder versus Al Iaquinta. Now, this fight here, I did a breakdown prior to this. Went over the fights, and we'll dive a little bit into it. I don't want to, go over it again too much, but I want to at least go over enough where, why I'm making the decision that I'm making. So, looking back at the fights again, when I went over the fights, first of all, their last 3, Paul Felder versus Al Iaquinta. Now, looking at them, Al Iaquinta has had a layoff, here and there. He's fought a few times over the last couple of years, and a lot of it is the tone in which he talks about fighting. And that really starts to give me a little bit of a red flag when a guy who is, this isn't something you can half-ass. Fighting is something you can't kind of really be involved, I'm not really that. And some people who, when I bring that kind of things up, people say, well, look what he did to Diego Sanchez. He knocked him out and that whole... In that fight, actually, Diego Sanchez, who is slow, not that quick, not that technical, kind of at the end of his career at this point, still has the name, still a guy who's just going to go in there and just throw punches. Yes, Al did knock him out. But the way I'm looking at it is that Diego Sanchez is the kind of guy that just leaves himself open. He is just looking to either hit you or you hit him and somebody's going down. And that kind of fighting is tailor-made for a guy like Al Iaquinta, who loves to do that, he loves to get in there and just sit in the pocket and just scrap. But he is quicker, he's more technical than somebody like Diego Sanchez. And the other part was Jorge Masvidal. Now, Masvidal, he did beat him, but when I rewatched that fight, I really firmly believe that Masvidal definitely respected Iaquinta's power, and I think he did a little too much. I respected it a little too much. He definitely has it, but I think, Masvidal thought that he had won the first 2 rounds and completely took off the 3rd round, which is just dumb to begin with. That's just, I don't know if that's poor coaching or, the corner was just, not really giving him the right information, or was, Masvidal kind of doing his own thing? Was he kind of just, I'm going to take this off? Because he really did not do much in that round. Kind of played defense. Obviously, at that round was for Al, and he ended up not winning. Masvidal didn't look happy about it. But in my opinion, I thought it was a 2-1. And I thought that it actually was the way that he said, that he thought, but it didn't. Obviously, you can't do that. You can't, if you're a fighter, you can't just think that you know exactly what the judges are going to be doing. So that again, to me, was a possibility where Masvidal could have won or should have won. And if he had poured it on in that 3rd round, he was landing a lot on Al, there was a lot of heavy shots that were being landed on him. I mean, he really was landing. And the way that I turn that into a Paul Felder conversation is really Paul Felder is a hungry fighter. He is well-rounded. He has got sensational Muay Thai. He is very good with leg kicks, working in combinations. And I think something like that is really something that Al Iaquinta hasn't seen. I mean, even prior to Masvidal was Joe Lozon, another slow guy who likes to scrap. He likes to go in there and he likes to throw, and he does not care if he gets hit. But a guy like Al will take advantage of that. He will find the leverage to take advantage of that. So for me, I really believe that Paul Felder has a great chance of winning this fight. I really feel he's got a great chance of winning this fight. And now, there's opportunities where you can say, yeah, who has the more power or all this kind of thing. But Paul Felder has one hell of a chin. I would definitely say that Al Iaquinta is pretty strong in his chin as well. But Paul Felder is aggressive, he moves forward, and the only thing that worries me about Paul Felder is his hands, where he leaves them. A lot of times, he likes to leave them low, and he doesn't keep his hands up. If you keep, and with a guy like Al Iaquinta, you don't need much. Catch the chin, and that's night-night. So if Paul Felder keeps his hands up, if he works the leg kicks and works in those combinations, I just don't think that somebody like Al Iaquinta has seen anything like that over the last couple of years. And with a guy that's worried about, his real estate company, and he's, badmouthed the UFC and all these other things, I just don't see a spot where Al Iaquinta can really leverage a path to victory for him. Is it a knockout? Yeah, sure, it's a knockout. Anybody can knock out anybody. But I feel Paul Felder has more opportunities to get in tight. And I think when he gets in tight, and if Paul Felder can get some clinch game going on there, I really believe that that's not going to be good at all for Al Iaquinta. So I am doing 2 units on Paul Felder at plus 110. Again, the odds are pretty close there. Al Iaquinta now is minus 120. So again, depending where you guys are placing your bets, but I really feel good about this bet, and the more that I rewatched it and the more that you just think about the mindset of one guy to the other guy, I really feel like Paul Felder has a great opportunity to win this fight. So again, we are best bet. We are 15 wins, 6 losses this year, plus 12.35 units. And our 3 plays are Felice Herring at I have 0.5, at half a unit at plus 175. And then we have Johanny and Jacek, 1 unit at minus 110. And then we have Paul Felder, our best bet play, 2 units at plus 210. And there you have it. And what I want to do also is I wanted you guys on this video, let me know your picks, let me know your parlays, your plays. I'm definitely going to be doing some other parlays here. I may actually do another video of some of the parlays, small parlays I'm going to do. Like I always call them the hero parlays that I just kind of like to have a little bit of fun with and not really put too much into. But if you hit them, you really hit them. So let me know what you guys are doing on parlays, any of that other stuff. If you're actually thinking about some of the rounds, over and unders, let me know also because, I may throw some more money on it. So there you have it, guys. Join Fight Club. Don't forget to subscribe, like, get involved. And this is Mr. UFC Vegas, Fight Club TV.